Now, the Women's World Cup is well underway now, and it has been a mixed bag of results for the top teams in the world. Australia, the number one side, have had a 100% record so far, as has South Africa. But the Proteas having played a game less than Australia. New Zealand, it's been 2-2, 2 losses and 2 wins for the home side, while England have been in dire straits. The defending champions have lost all 3 of their opening games at the World Cup. And I'm joined yet again, as we did last week, by Kristy Havill from Tauranga in New Zealand. Kristy, thank you so much for your time. Has it gone according to script for you?
I'm not sure according to script for the White Ferns so far, but me personally, going well to script. I'm really enjoying the tournament, some fantastic cricket being played, and everyone loves an upset now and again as well. Yeah,
let's start with New Zealand then, the side with whom you pledge allegiance, 2-2. How have you looked at their performances so far?
Been a bit of a mixed bag, I think they would agree. We obviously played Australia on Sunday and had them in a really good position, probably for about the first 35 overs of our fielding innings, and things were looking pretty positive, but we just, gave them a bit of leeway. We gave them an inch and they ran a mile with it and put on a big total and completely obliterated us in the run chase, and you can't afford to do that against Australia. So they'll be looking certainly to get back in the saddle against South Africa on Thursday.
How likely is that, though? Looking at the form book at the moment, South Africa looking in good nick. They just had probably their biggest test thus far. You could argue that New Zealand, being the home side, will also pose a serious threat to South Africa.
I think so, and if we look at the performance that New Zealand put out last time they played in Hamilton at Seddon Park against India, they were very, very good. But South Africa are a big task ahead for the White Ferns, and South Africa a great win against England to hold on the other night. Their bowling attack was phenomenal as per usual, but their batters maybe still short of a few runs in the top order, but they are coming along a long way. So I'm expecting a big showdown on Thursday, and it could go either way.
And there's been concerns from South Africa. Well, the initial concern was that they were off form going into the tournament. I think that's off the table now in conversations that we're having. Now we're talking about the peaking. Are they peaking too early or what? And Marizanne Kapp actually says the best is yet to come. She's been quoted in the papers this morning here that the best is yet to come. Do you look at it that way when it comes to South Africa? Maybe that batting order. Lisa Lee, we also spoke about her joining the team a little bit later.
I agree with Marizanne. I think she's absolutely right. The best is definitely still yet to come. They are peaking at the right time. If we look at what happens in between tournaments, it doesn't matter. What matters is how you perform in the tournament itself, which is what England are finding out at the moment. But South Africa, I think Lizelle Lee is due some big runs. I think Mignon du Preez will also front up with the bat very soon as well. So I think South Africa have some big games coming up. They've got New Zealand, India, Australia, all to come. So I think they are definitely on the rise and a team that will be a big threat come semi-finals time.
Yeah, that's not some opponents that you want to face at a tournament like this, and you have to face at a Cricket World Cup, face everyone for you to go into the semi-finals. What's happened to England, though, Kristy? We expected, this has been a shock for all of us, the poor form shown by the defending champions.
It's an absolute head-scratcher, and I'm actually just writing a column about it at the moment, trying to unpick just exactly what is going on. But the biggest thing I can put it down to at the moment is just that sense of complacency. I think they were only really viewing Australia as a big threat in the tournament, and they hadn't really paid as much attention to other teams and had forgotten that tournament factor that sometimes teams grow another player within that playing 11. They just play absolutely out of their skins, like we found out from the West Indies, those first 2 matches. I think it's just complacency, and I also think they're being quite conservative in their selections, and especially around their bowling. Obviously, Brunt and Shrubsole not really performing at the moment, and they seem to be reluctant to drop them because they're veterans and match winners, but sometimes you just need to rotate and focus on the team in front of you rather than what's worked previously.
Do you foresee the shock of the tournament with England failing to make the cut going into the semi-finals?
I think so. I think they need to win all 4 games and hope for some good results to go their way. But as we've already seen, there's been any number of shocks and thrillers in this tournament already, so I can't see them making the semi-finals. I think particularly playing India tomorrow, it could be lights out as early as tomorrow night after India's scintillating display the other night against the West Indies. And then, of course, they have to play New Zealand on Sunday. So I have a feeling that it will become the big story of the tournament as the defending champions going home early.
And I suspect the other big story will be Australia being the team to beat, basically. They've won 4 from 4, as I said earlier. They're the #1 team in the world at the moment. And they've got the look of champions as early as now in the tournament.
And it pains us to say it, doesn't it? I mean, the rivalry between South Africa and Australia and New Zealand and Australia is that big. We hate to say it, but you're absolutely right. They do look like champions. But come semi-final time, as they found out in 2017 when they played India and Harmanpreet Kaur had an absolute day out with the bat, it only takes one to put in a match-winning performance. So everyone will be, I think, the mindset here in New Zealand is that anyone can win the World Cup except Australia, and we'll be happy. So we'll absolutely be supporting every team to beat Australia come finals time.
Anyone but Australia. Let's look at any one of these other sides and the smaller teams that are in the tournament. Any one of them particularly that's impressed you?
I've been really impressed with Bangladesh. I think they, for the small amount of resource that they have, the lack of cricket they've had the last couple of years since COVID hit has been abysmal. And I think they've had 4 ODI matches in the last 12 months alone. And to come out here in their debut one-day World Cup and get a win over Pakistan, who they're no slouches either, it's just phenomenal. And I can't wait to see how Bangladesh grow these next few years now that they are in the ICC Women's Championship.
Who's your champion? I couldn't say it. I couldn't ask you this last week, Kristy. I think it was after match day 1, but I think now there's been a few matches for you to say, I can put my money, I can put my head on the block for this team. I know you'd want to say New Zealand, but there's probably other teams that you may be looking at.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's hard to go past Australia, isn't it? They just look like they have all bases covered. It doesn't matter whether their top order gets skittled, the middle order seem to pull them out of the fire. It doesn't matter if their batting order fails, their bowling attack pulls them out of the fire. They just look to have every base covered and every scenario they have a solution for. So, again, it pains me to say it, but if I had to put my head on the block, it would probably be for Australia.
All right, Kristy, I've got a sneaky feeling that Sunelise will be on the podium come the final day of the tournament. That's Kristy Havill joining us from Tauranga in New Zealand, talking about the Women's Cricket World Cup. 3 from 3 from the Proteas so far.